everyone, my name is Gayle. This practice is called Finding Your Float. So finding your float is all about feeling light, feeling expansive, feeling like you're floating as you're moving between poses, as you're in the pose, as you, just your general ambiance, that you feel light and enlightened in a sense. And in order to be able to do that, we need to have strength, we need to have balance, we need to have power, we need to have intention and focus. So I hope you enjoyed this practice, and we'll start by closing our eyes, focusing on our breath, and see if you can create a feeling of floating in your breath. So it's not heavy, it's not fast, it's just nice and slow and even and soft. So it feels like each breath is floating in through your nose and floating out through your nose. And that even if you hold the breath, there's a sense of floating and lightness rather than tightness and gripping. So we're going to do a breathing practice where we're counting the inhales, the space between the inhale and the exhales. So we'll inhale to the count of 5, hold to the count of 6, and exhale to the count of 8. So first, just take your time to find that soft, easy breath. And on your next exhale, squeeze the air out, and we'll begin together. So inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And count on your own for the next 2 rounds. Finding that even, smooth, full breath. And after you finish your 2 rounds, just breathe normally without counting and notice how it feels. Now you can keep your eyes closed or open them, but on your next inhale, float your arms up. And on your exhale, float your arms down. Inhale, float your arms up. Do some figure 8s with your wrists and your hands. On your exhale, float your arms down. Inhale, palms face up, reach up. And again, just move the wrists around in any way that you want. And on your exhale, float your arms down. Inhale, float your arms up. This time interlace your fingers and lower your hands so they're just about a little below chest height with your elbows out to the side. And we'll do some wrist waves. So start with the right elbow lifting up, and then find that wave that moves across your hands so you're bending the wrists and just finding a nice fluid kind of floating motion in your hands and your wrists. Now let's start from the movement from the left side, moving up the left side and across to the right side. And reach your arms forward and up. On your exhale, bring your right hand down and reach your left arm over and across. Anchor down through your left hip as you reach over through your left fingertips. And as you inhale, let the breath float you up and slowly over to the other side, lowering your left hand down. Maybe you bend the elbow and reach your right arm across. A couple more times each side. And you might notice that one side feels a little tighter than the other. So just honor that. Maybe be a little gentler, or maybe just think of using your breath a little bit more fully to find that extra space. And one more time each side. Nice. Come on back up and come to a sitting position with your legs forward, feet flexed. Activate your legs by hugging muscle to bone and hugging your legs in towards each other, toward this midline, which would be, if you drew a line from the center of your forehead down through your nose, through the center of your body and between your legs, that would be the midline. We want to hug into that. And bring your hands forward and lean forward over your arms. Puff up into your back, and on an exhale, push into the floor and see if you can float your hips up. And we'll hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly float down. So it creates you need a lot of power, a lot of strength to pull your belly up and to kind of have a feeling of your hips floating. Now, people that are really strong can actually float their heels up as well. I'm not there yet. You could use blocks under your hands. That would give you a little more height. It might feel like you're floating up a little bit more. But we're going to do that 2 more times with the option of lifting one leg up while we're floating. So it's your choice. But start with your hands down. Lean forward. Puff up into your back. Grip with your hands. Press down. Lift up. Maybe lift the left leg up. And we'll hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Float down. Take a little break. Feel your breath. And then we'll do last one, this time with the option to lift your right leg up. So draw your belly up and in. Reach forward. Press into your hands. Lift up. Maybe lift your right leg up. And we'll hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down. Maybe help me shake a little bit. And then just see if you can softly float your body forward over your legs. Now you may be able to rest your forehead on your legs, or you might be way up high. But just think of lengthening from your tailbone all the way up through the crown of your head. So getting some of the roundness out of your back, finding a little bit of a straighter back if you can. And lower to whatever height you can be comfortable, maybe a little bit uncomfortable, but not like so much that you feel like your body is fighting you instead of that you're working together. And now come back up, walk your hands back with your fingers facing your hips, puff up into your chest, bend your knees, bring your feet about halfway forward so your hips are between your heels and your hands, and then press into your hands, lift your hips up. Then lower your hips towards your heels to stretch out the shoulders a little bit and lift back up again. And this time, maybe you press back and see if you can bring your hips behind you, keeping them floating above the ground. And come forward again and lift up. We'll do that one more time. So lower your hips towards your heels. Inhale, lift up. Hug the midline and press down and back. And forward and up. And lower down. This time straighten your legs, and we're going to see if we can lift up with our legs straight and the toes pointed. So again, like you want your hips kind of close to your hands and puff up into your chest, point your toes, hug your legs in toward the midline. As you inhale, lift up, reach your toes down, and exhale, lower down. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, lift up, exhale, lower. One more time. Inhale, lift, exhale, lower. Back into your comfortable seated position, and we'll work on the feet a little bit. So cross your left ankle above your right knee and take the fingers of your right hand and thread them between your toes. Get in there nice and tight so that you get to the base of the fingers, the base of the toes. And then you can use your hands to help flex and extend your toes. At the same time, you can massage the 3 arches of your foot. So that would be the medial arch along the inside edge of the foot, this arch, the lateral arch, and the transverse arch. And those, arches can have kind of like a little bit of a springiness to them. And if you think of the origin parts of those arches, kind of more or less, it would be the mound of the big toe, mound of the pinky toe, and the center of the heel. Now, if you can have those 3 points weighted down evenly, it's going to help a lot with your balance and help you to have that feeling of floating and lightness. Well, then spread your fingers, spread the toes, lower the toes down, spreading them as wide as you can, and then lift the big toe up separately from the other 4 toes, lift the other 4 toes up. And just kind of march back and forth. You really can't spend too much time on your feet because your feet are really important for balance and to give you that sense of strength and stability that can ultimately result in the feeling of floating. So let's try the other side. So thread the fingers of your left hand between your right toes. Get all the way to the base of the fingers of the toes and start to use your hands to help the flexion and extension while you're massaging the 3 arches of your foot. Just notice the quality of the movement in your foot. Our feet have 26 bones, 33 joints, over 100 tendons and ligaments. So there's a lot in there that should be movable. Okay, our feet, we don't want them to be stiff. We want them to be pliable and strong. And then spread the fingers, slide them out, place your foot down, try and spread the toes apart. And then lift the big toe up and try and reach the big toe away from the second toe as you lower it down. Lift the other 4 toes up. And again, we'll just lift and lower and lift and lower. And if you can't do that right now, it's not a big deal. With practice, it may continue to be difficult, but just experiment and see how it goes. So now we're going to sit back on our heels and work on more of that strength component of pulling up to find that feeling of lightness and floating. So bow over your legs, puff up into your back, and squeeze your knees up as you lean forward, trying to see if you can get your feet to feel a little bit light. And we'll hold this for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down, sit back, relax. And we'll do that 2 more times. And just like when we were doing the L sit, we'll see you have the option to play with lifting 1 foot up at a time. So trying to pull, say, your left heel up towards your hip. So again, you want your hands to be kind of halfway between your knees and your hips. And you bow forward just like we did before, puff up into your back, hug the midline, grip with your hands, float your knees up, lean forward a little bit, and maybe pull your left foot up. And we'll hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly float down. I'm laughing because it's so hard for me. Okay, just take a little rest here. And we'll try it lifting the right leg up if you want to do that. So again, find your foundation, grip with the hands, puff up. So there's already a feeling of lightness and floating in your back. And then hug into the midline, find your strength. Lift your knees up and maybe pick your right foot up. And hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down. Reach your arms forward, coming into child's pose. And we're going to incorporate that into a little child's pose flow. So as you inhale, round forward into cat. And as you exhale, slide back into child's pose. Bring your hands back, puff up, lift your knees up as you reach forward, and lower down and reach forward. Inhale to cat. Exhale to child's pose. Bring your hands back, puff up, see if you can float up, and lower down, reaching forward. And then we'll add on a little bit, bringing a little cobra into this. So inhale, round forward. Keep coming forward, lowering your thighs down. Pull your chest open for your cobra. And then puff up into your back. Sit back on your heels. Glide your hands back. Press down, lift up. And lower down. Reach forward. Inhale, cat. Exhale, cobra. Open up. Inhale here. Maybe even press into your feet and come into upward facing dog if you like. And then exhale. Slide back, slide your hands back, puff up, lift up, and lower down, reach forward. One more time. Inhale, round up to cat, and keep coming forward into your cobra. Maybe even into your upward facing dog. And puff up into your back. Sit back, bring your hands back by your legs. Press forward, lift up, lean forward. Keep hugging your knees up. And lower down, and we'll rest in child's pose. And see if you can still have a nice, easy, fluid, floating breath. It will probably be, like I noticed mine is bigger and fuller than normal because of all the effort. But see if you can bring a feeling of lightness into that effort that we just have been playing with. Inhale up. Walk your hands back, coming into tabletop. And we're going to do some more floating. So reach your left leg up and back. Float your right arm forward. And extend through your toes, through your fingertips, so that you feel like you're floating. You can even grip the mat a little bit with your left finger pads. And lower down. Same thing, other side. Reach back with your right leg. Really engage your leg. Reach back through your toes, reach forward through your fingers, lift up through your belly, grip with your hands. Nice, and lower down. Tuck your toes, float up and back to downward facing dog. And we'll float forward into plank and float back into downward facing dog. Just find that nice fluid, graceful motion. And we'll come forward into plank, and we're going to do what we just did on our hands and knees, but it's a little bit harder because there's less of your body that's on the floor. So just the top of your foot instead of your whole shin. We're going to lift the left leg up, hug the midline, point out through your toes. Start to walk, come onto your right fingertips, start to walk your fingertips forward, and see if you can float your arm up. Good, lower down, and stretch back to down dog. Inhale forward to plank again. Lift the right leg up, squeeze the inner thigh, lift up through the belly, come up onto your left fingertips, and reach the left arm forward. And step back to down dog. Let's try that again, one more time each side. So inhale forward to plank. Find that hugging in so that you start with a feeling of lightness. Float the left leg up and reach out through your toes. Come up onto your right fingertips, float the right arm forward. And back to down dog. Inhale forward to plank again. Reach the right leg up, squeeze the muscles to the bone, and float your left arm forward. And back to downward facing dog. So sometimes if you rush it a little bit, like I did the second side, and you might get a little more wobbly. And sometimes it's just like, we're still working. Everything is work in progress, the way I see it. So come back onto your hands and knees and just move your spine around in all directions. Bring your right hand out to the right a little bit. Stretch your left leg back. Float your left leg and your left arm up. Then reach your left knee forward and your left arm back. So you're squeezing your knee into your chest, similar to what we did earlier. And then reach up. And then hug in, reaching back. Inhale forward and reach up. Exhale, hug in and reach back. Inhale back up. One more time. exhale, hug in, reach back, inhale back up, and come back into your tabletop. Just let your spine move. We'll play with the same thing other side. So bring your left hand out to the side a little bit. Reach your right leg back, float it up. Float your left arm up. Your right arm up, sorry. Now, the position of your left foot can make it easier or more challenging. So if your foot is out to the side a little bit, it's a little bit easier. If it's in line, it's a little bit more challenging. And then we're going to reach back with our hand, reach forward with the knee, hugging it in, and reach back up again. And hug in, and reach back, and hug in, squeeze, 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 and reach back, and hug in, reaching back, and then reach forward and back, and hug it in. One more time. Come back into your tabletop and back to downward facing dog. We're going to come into pigeon pose. So idea here is we're going to try and bring our right knee forward of the right fingers. So on your inhale, reach your right leg up. On your exhale, squeeze your knee into your chest, bring your body forward and lower the knee down. Come up onto your finger pads, hug your legs in, puff up into your chest. And maybe, if it feels safe for you, keep hugging in, maybe reach your arms up. Lower down, shift your weight into your right hip, bring the left leg forward so you're in like a tree pose position. Then reach your right arm over and across. And sweep it back up and behind you. Reach the left arm up as you point through the left toes. Inhale back through center. Reach across. Inhale, lift up, and exhale, reach. So just keep breathing and see if you can use your breath to help you float in between these poses. I'll do one more. This time, come forward and grab the outside of your left foot with your right hand, pick your leg up, and reach your left arm behind you. So you're reaching out through your toes, reaching out through your fingertips. And then swing your leg behind you, coming back into pigeon. Tuck your back toes and float back into down dog splits. Lower your leg down. I'll do the same thing with the other side. So inhale, float your left leg up. Reach up nice and high. And then hug your knee into your chest. Reach forward. Try and land your knees just right above your fingertips. Hug your legs in. Either stay here or reach up. And float the arms down. Lower into your left hip. Float the right leg forward. And then reach the left arm across. Inhale back up, lift, reaching the right arm up and over. Just go back and forth. Finding that feeling of floating, that feeling of lightness. This time, when you reach forward, holding onto the outside of the right foot, lift your right foot up, switch your right arm back, and see if you can find a feeling of lift and almost like a kind of exuberance or celebration. Then release your foot, float your right foot back into pigeon and back into down dog splits. Lower your leg down. And now we're going to step or hop forward to our hands. And just float your heels up and float the front of the feet up, back and forth. And then spread your toes and ground down through the 3 points of the foot, mound of the big toe, pinky toe, center of the heel. Press down to rise all the way up. And exhale, hands to your heart. Just pause for a moment. And see if you can feel like your body's floating over your feet, but it's all connected. There's this like feeling of being super connected. On your next inhale, sweep your arms up, pull your right knee up into your chest. And then float your arms back, your leg back into warrior three, staying really active in that top leg. And inhale, pull up and in, and reach up. And exhale, reach back. Again, inhale, pull up. This time, externally rotate your left hip, placing your left foot on your inner thigh for tree pose. Keep reaching up. Then one more time, float back into warrior three. And this time, step back into crescent lunge, rise up. Come into twisted crescent and then float your arms up and back, exalted crescent. Keep sweeping the back arm forward, open up warrior two. Reach up and back, reverse your warrior. Come back forward into your warrior two and float the back heel up, crescent lunge. Step back, down dog splits. Lower your foot and hop or step forward to your hands. Rooting through your feet, inhale, rise all the way up. And exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, sweep the right knee up as you reach up. Exhale, reach back, warrior three. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, float back. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, float back. This time, as you reach your knee forward, open your right hip up, place your foot on your inner thigh, and find that feeling of floating in your tree pose. Then reach back again into your warrior three. Step back into your crescent lunge. Right away, twisted crescent. Reach back for exalted crescent. Swing the back arm forward and up, open up, warrior two. Reach back, reverse your warrior. And then cartwheel your arms. Step back into down dog splits. And lower your leg down, back into downward facing dog. So now we're going to play with the idea of stepping forward and rising up into tree pose. So that's going to require really tapping into your power, tapping into your breath, and noticing how you place your foot and how you transfer your weight into your foot. So we're going to be stepping forward, and think of continuing the movement forward towards the front of your foot. Keep the legs engaged and just rise up. Open up into tree pose. So let's begin together. Inhale, reach the right leg up. Exhale, squeeze your knee into your chest. Keep that sense of power and engagement as you step your foot forward and start to rise up. Reaching your arms up, pulling your left knee up, open up into your tree pose. And back to warrior three. If you want to play with this, we're going to see if we can come into like a floating half moon. So start to stack your left hip over your right hip, stack the shoulders, reach out through your toes and your fingers, and then start to come back into your warrior three, and back up into standing Tadasana. Lower your foot down. So again, keeping the idea of floating. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, float the left leg up. Exhale, hug your knee into your chest, and as you step your foot forward, follow the momentum, rising up. Pull your right knee up. Externally rotate your right hip. Bring your foot in for tree pose. And back to warrior three. And maybe play with opening up into like a floating half moon. Good. Lower your hands down, step back, downward facing dog. Let's try that again, both sides. So inhale, float the right leg up. Exhale, draw your knee in, place your foot slowly and start to push into your foot as you reach your arms up, pulling your knee up. Externally rotate at the hip, place your foot on your inner thigh. Keep the lift, the floating quality as you reach your arms back, leg back, warrior three. And maybe play with opening up into your half moon, floating half moon. Then come back into your warrior three. Lower your hands down, step back, down dog. Inhale, float the left leg up. Exhale, squeeze it in nice and strong. Keep that squeeze as you lower your foot, step forward, pressing off your fingers as you rise up, draw your knee up. Externally rotate at the hip, placing your foot on your inner thigh. Then float your arms and leg back for warrior three. Maybe floating half moon. Stack the hips, stack the shoulders, keep those toes reaching back. And square your hips, reach your arms back again for your warrior three. Lower your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Walk your feet about halfway forward and come into your squat. And lower your hips to the floor, coming onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest. And circle your ankles. We'll do a nice expanded twist. So shift your hips over to the left side of your mat. Stretch your right leg out. Bring your left leg up. Take your right hand to the outside of your left leg, wherever it will reach, and slowly float your left leg over to the right. Maybe kind of wiggle your hips back a little bit to the left. And you can try bending your right knee, grabbing hold of your right foot with your left hand. Just let yourself relax here. Release your right foot if you were holding it. Bring your left hip back down to float your left leg up. Center your hips and float your left leg all the way down. Let it lightly touch. And shift your hips to the right. Reach your right leg up. Take your left hand to the outside of your right leg. Gently guide it across, floating your left foot to the floor, nice and slowly. So you might be holding like higher up on your leg. Then think of wiggling your left toes back over to the right. So you're almost a little bit forward on your left hip bone. Bend your left knee and see if maybe you can find your left foot with your right hand. And again, relax here. And you can release your left foot if you're holding it. Pull your right hip back to the ground to bring your right leg up. Center yourself on your mat. And slowly float the right leg down. Gently hug your knees into your chest. And rest the back of your shoulders on the floor. And float your arms up, float your legs up for dead bug pose. And let everything relax. And feel that sensation of floating. Like your feet have become weightless, your hands have become weightless. Feel your whole back connecting to the earth. And see if you can feel the sensation of your whole body relaxing, of how interconnected every place in your body is, and how your breath can help you to relax and create a feeling of floating, as well as sinking and being grounded. So those two work together. And if you want, you could begin to bring a little movement into your fingers and toes. And just kind of shake out your hands, lower your feet to the ground, lower your arms to the ground, and we'll just do a short savasana. You're welcome to stay longer if you like. But again, just let everything relax. So you could even have this dual sensation of your body sinking into the earth and feeling very grounded. And at the same time, there's maybe an energetic body that's kind of floating above you. So you still maintain that feeling of lightness and floating, even while you're grounded and being supported by the earth. And you're welcome to stay here longer if you like, if you have the time. Otherwise, begin to bring some movement into your fingers and your toes again. Maybe flex and extend your wrists and your ankles. And just slowly make your way up to seated. Thank you for joining me today. I hope that you feel almost like a kind of magical feeling, that feeling of floating and that sense of power, and how we can move with our whole body and feel this integration of every place in our body kind of working together to help us create this sensation of lightness and well-being and peace and equanimity. I would love it if you would leave a comment below. Really let me know how you feel. How did this feel? What would you like? What would you like more videos like this? And share it with a friend that you know maybe needs a little bit of lightness in their life, or a sense of power, a sense of empowerment. And I hope that you're already subscribed. If you're not, please subscribe. Hit the like bell if you'd like to know when more videos are coming out. And I hope to see you again soon. Bye.